Hi, I'm Carcino. Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
No one knows Carcino and none of these.
There's so much going on in the world, and I'm just giving my 2 cents on it. Go in and do a raid at someone's house, but you don't have an arrest warrant for them. What y'all seeing here is a whole series of things that y'all probably already knew or didn't know, but Jay-Z and J. Cole, J. Cole is a huge Jay-Z fan, and this is like one of his idols, and they say never meet your idols. It wasn't really like that. Like they had mutual respect for each other, and the fact that he was able to get a deal with Jay was something he never he never thought he would be signed to Jay. He just thought like, man, I just hope I meet Hove. And, Hove dissed him the time he gave him his tape, the whole nine, the first time he ever really met him, and it was just like, I don't want that. And, he just kept grinding. He knew he had something and he kept working hard. That's some people in this game don't understand. They think they got 5 songs and they ready to go and get a deal now. It's like, dude, like, yo, man, I got a deal. It's like, it don't work that way, man. So, right from the jump, once Jay got J. Cole, immediately J. Cole was so excited that Jay had shown interest to get him that he signed him right away. Jim Jones passed on him because he was like, well, Drake blew up and took off. So Jay was thinking, man, I'm going to have my own Drake. This J. Cole, he kind of remind me of Drake. So that's what he was thinking. Then Jay had a chance to get on a song with Drake and get a verse with Drake. Then Kendrick Lamar comes and blows up. And he's getting all this push. And he jumps on that track and he gave a verse to Kendrick on the Swimming Pools remix. Then, it's just like the Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, I think, remix. So Jay jumped on that. And then Drake had Off That with Jay-Z, and Off That ended up becoming like a hit a year later. Like people started picking up on Off That. But it really didn't do too much for Jay. Then Jay drops the Picasso Baby album, and he's going through his phase of talking about art and the Tom Ford, and Drake does an interview. And I don't know who he gave the interview to, but in the interview, he basically dissed Jay-Z and just like, man, I love Ho. It's just like, he's talking about art and all this stuff. It's like, dude, like we don't know nothing about that stuff. Like who talks about rapping about art and all that? Like he's basically dumping on Jay. Man, Jay was so hot that he felt Drake was comfortable enough to mention him in an interview and disrespect him like that. He was offended. He was madly offended by that situation. Now, at this time, Drake and J. Cole are friends. Like they cool. They met. They all right. Dude's all right. So J. Cole is, you know, connected by morals. Like this dude ain't never did nothing. He's been like over extending to me when he didn't even have to. Like, man, that's weird. So when Cole first album came out, right? He's spending all this money on the album. And while they working on the album and every day a star is born and all of those wonderful things is happening, you got Cole out here, grinding it out. He's trying to get his album together, get it pushed, and Jay ain't liking the album. So Jay ain't like feeling the album at all. Like he's thinking like, I can't put this out. You're not getting a release date. And he was like, what? So Cold World was like, man, he thinking this album is good to go. And Jay was like, homie, are you trying to make history or are you just trying to make songs for dudes in the hood? Because if you want to make songs for dudes in the hood, then you on your way. You on your way. But here, we're about history. So, Jay was like, you got to get that record. So he had on Blueprint 3 on that Every Day a Star is Born. And he came out, did that. And Jay let him come on stage and perform it at the show because it's a J. Cole song. Now, Cold World comes out finally once he goes back and makes the song that everybody in the world said, man, I'm glad you made that record. Don't let Jay ruin your career, man. Don't let Jay ruin your career. I'm glad you did that. But then he made that song with Kanye West for the album because Jay was like, I can't put this out. I need a radio hit. I need to sell this. So he goes and do this song with Kanye West. Everybody loves this song. Not Nas. Nas is like, man, yeah, I heard that. Man, he the one. Why he make that? Yeah. And he was like, come on, man. They ain't going to put my album out if I don't make this record. If I didn't have Kanye West come in on this track and do this track here, the whole album doesn't come out. And he ended up putting his disdain and turning it into an art and let Nas down. And then Nas had to jump on the remix, like, nah, you ain't let me down. So Born Sinner ended up becoming like one of the best albums I think he's ever made. I was a huge Born Sinner fan. And Cold World comes out, and it was a hit. He sells 1 million records. Is selling down there 1 million from that one. Then the second one comes out. Born Sinner sells 2 million records. And they like, okay, now you got an artist coming out the gate selling millions of records. Jay-Z ain't had that in a while. For a rapper that he sold Hell, Jeezy and Ross can't sell 1 million records. That fat bastard kept going gold. And here it is, J. Cole come out, he's selling millions of records. And so J. Cole is like, all right, well, now they're gonna probably want to renegotiate. He was upset because of Born Center. This is where things started to go a little haywire because after Born Center, this is where a lot of the problems was starting to show up with Jay and J. Cole. Not a personal thing, just business and Jay's feelings. Jay ain't vibing with Drake at all. He's still hot over that interview because he couldn't believe he said that. And he was like, man, what's wrong with evolving and talking about other things? I don't even understand why he would even say that. So he was so disturbed by what Drake said about him in that interview that when they collaborated on Scorpion, he brought that shit up. And that was like 7 years old by then. Whatever year he dropped that Tom Ford album, that Magna Carta, that's when he was feeling like that. So to hear that all that time, he was holding on to that aggression and that anger and that disdain all that time. And he was like, man, before we had to talk about that. Drake was shocked. Like, damn, really? We got to discuss this? All right. So they went in there and had a conversation about that because it really bothered him. Now, here's the dynamics of what's going on. Jay was pushing Cole and pressuring him to really go at Drake without saying it. It was like, yeah, you know that Drake guy, they say he number one, he better than you. And, like, you got to show these dudes, like, that guy ain't in my category. Like, I'm something different. Like, you got to show that you the shining star. Like, he's pushing him to challenge Drake and pressuring him. And Jay is giving him the pep talk, but then he got Guru, Beehive, Tata, all them guys that work for him at Rock Nation. And they're pumping it into J. Cole head. Like, yeah, man, you got to take them out, man. You got to take them out. You got to let them know, man, it's competitive, man. Shoot, you got to let them know that it's your throne, man. You here now. That's what this album finna be, Born Center, baby. Yeah, that's it. This is it. You finna let them know. You ain't no fluke. They gassing them to go at, like, Drake. Like, the crown is yours. You anointed by the kings. You got Nas and Jay, they standing with you. So Jay was just sitting back like, yeah, that's it. Yeah, pull the strings. Now he gonna go for it. And Cole was like, nah, I don't want to do that. Like, dude been cool with me. Like, he been nice. And we ain't forget all that king stuff. Like, yeah, I'm a king too, but so is he. Like, we all could be kings. Like, you and Nas are both kings. Jay didn't see it that way. Jay didn't see it that way at all. He felt Cole has got to have this instinct. You can't, hip hop don't work that way. And he's trying to tell him, he's like, dog, you keep acting like that. You say, do you think Drake is going around thinking about you? Do you think Drake going around thinking about your well-being and sharing the crown with you? He's got a false sense of, like, duty. and it could cost him in the end. See, the whole world see Jay and J. Cole as friends, and they didn't see it that way. J. Cole realized how much money he was spending on his first albums. Like, oh, wait a minute. I don't spend this kind of money. He realized, like, in his contract, what was wrong. So he said, okay, I can't do that no more. So I'm going to change the game. And I'm not going to take that much money out for my production credits. I'm just going to say all the money I'm supposed to get, because J. Cole produced his own records. So that's more money coming in. So what he did was take that money and give it back and said, hey, take that my production credits and put that towards my masters. So now every time he drops an album, all the numbers and stuff is starting to go towards him buying back his partnership and buying his masters. So now you use some of the money to get like 2 features or 3 features or whatever, and just the rest you just put into the your production credits that you're supposed to get as a producer. You put that towards your masters, and that's what he was doing. Jay didn't like that at all. So you trying to buy back your masters, all right? Okay, I get it. So Jay, he made it pretty expensive. And Cole, it took him after Forest Hills and everything else, that project changed the world. And once that project hit, that took him to a new plateau, and he didn't have Jay-Z on there for no feature. They did 1 feature in life, and that was it. Jay wasn't doing another feature with him. So to have it all come down to a great business strategy move, but this was all on Jay and them by not giving Cole no money. Like, they were like, you signed that contract. And he was like, man, let's renegotiate. Y'all pay me some more money. I can give y'all some more albums, at the back end of it. Nope, they didn't want to do that. So he was like, all right, well, I'm just going to, buy my masters. So I'll be able to have some control. So that was the smart play. So they thinking somebody's teaching this kid how to screw over Roc Nation. So they thinking J. Cole is not loyal. So Jay stopped, having personal contact with Cole, everything. So all of that was over with. He was like, that's it. Like the kid, but we can't be around the kid. Kid is screwing up. So we're going to just leave him where he at and move on from there. Let him do it. Let him figure it out on his own. That's how Jay was like. Let him figure it out on his own. So that's what they did. Jay was like, I got to teach you like this because this is the way you're going to learn. Even though I'm trying to steal your hairstyle and everything. And when everybody's seeing where this was going, right? And they could see his style and, teaming up with Nas and being around Nas, more than Jay, when him and Jay wasn't really speaking to each other like that no more. You started to see the distance, but Nas still showed him love. And the big Jay fan is now gravitating towards Nas. Now, when Hove came out and was doing what he was doing, Nas was showing support for Born Center and everything else, while Jay kind of fell back. So when Forest Hills blew up and he changed the hairstyle, Jay went and got the doggone afro because Forest Hills blew up and J. Cole had his hair all blown out, grew his hair all out, and it had no features on the album, and the album was incredible. So all those production points went towards his album. Then KOD, that was it. He had enough to buy back his masters. So now he's free from Rock Nation. He's free from that contract that would have drained him until the day he died. Because see, that's what the record contract is nothing but a loan, and it's never designed for you to pay back any of the money. Just keep you in debt, keep you on the Ferris wheel, while they keep getting money and production off of you and everything else. And this guy came out in Forest Hill, went crazy, and Jay and them was trying to take credit when it was all cold. Jay had nothing to do with anything with Forest Hill. And Jay was like, I need that look. He's wearing hair like that. I got to get hair like that. Jay don't want to be left behind. If Jay got to paint his nails, he'd paint his nails if everybody was painting. Like he can't be left behind. He got to be current within the times of what's going on. So it's a difficult situation. I see how people could be disturbed by it, and taken back from, Jay-Z's antics, but it's just business. He used his production credits to buy back his masters, buy back into his CD. And, you don't have to take all the money. You could put some of the money back towards the album. Just like you get a loan for a car, they ask you how much you want to put on the principal. You think when you pay that bare minimum, that's all going towards the vehicle. No, I don't. But you might have like 6% of that money going towards the vehicle, while the rest just go to inflation. So yes, Drake was Jay was the biggest instigator in the back and forth of the, going back and forth, and so that's how we looked at it. That's how we saw it coming up. We see it from a whole lot of different eyes than what everybody else is fantasizing and seeing it on. Like I talked about this like about 9-10 months ago when Jay-Z made J. Cole buy back his masters, because they ain't about giving up the masters. So he was like, look, business is business. And that's the way you're supposed to see it. Anybody was talking about making some money. It's like, hey, man, look, business is business. Okay, what Jay doing is great for the industry. It's great for the culture. So, it's business. So the white guy would have done me the same way, probably even worse. Probably would have stabbed me in the back. But well, I want to say thank all y'all for the love and support. Thank all y'all who came out to support me on this page. Don't forget my Patreon is Carcino for Life. We talking about the Foxy Brown documentary, and you get some details behind that over there on the Patreon. The Cash App is Carcino. Shouts out to Kwame Brown, Bus Life, Dreamers Pro, Mondo Black TV. Welcome to HDII TV. Jag Sports with Jose Rodriguez. And We're out, bro. Showface News, the mayor. Appreciate you and your efforts, man. And I'm out.